Hello, math makers. Thank you for showing up again with me today to do lesson number 2 or part 2 of solving addition word problems using the cubes method. Now, as we did with subtraction, we're going to take several days of practice with this because this is new. And every time you try something new, you need a little more practice, and that is okay. So as we get started with our cubes method, let's review again what cube stands for. And I know we've been doing this for a few days, but let's go ahead and do it again. C stands for, circle the numbers. U stands for, underline the question. B stands for, box the keywords. E stands for, eliminate extra information. And as you remember, eliminate means get rid of. We're going to get rid of it. We don't need it. And S is for solve and check your work. So as we get started, again, we're moving into addition now. And when you do addition, we have some different terms that we need to know. And there were some different terms that we had to know for subtraction. Just like for addition, there's some terms we need to know. So when you add, we have different parts of an equation. We have the two numbers we're adding, and those are both called addends. I know in subtraction they have different names, but in addition, they both have the same name, addend, because we're adding those two numbers together. And the answer is called sum or total. Usually it's called sum, sometimes it's called total. And when you put that all together, it makes an equation, which is the same term we use for subtraction. When you have a whole problem with all the numbers and the answers, it's called an equation. Now, one of the steps in the cubes method is to look for the keywords. We have to box those. So we need to know what those keywords are. So what I did here is I put a list of some of the most common used keywords. These are not all of them, but these are some of the ones that we find most frequently. So let's read through these together. We have in all or all together or together, sum, total or total number, increase by, plus, combine, added to. And those are the words most commonly used in addition word problems. Now, let's get started. So for our first question today, it's just going to be cube practice because I really want us to get good at cube, because if we do cube, it's easier to do the solve and check your work. So let's go ahead and work on those together. Tony is collecting marbles. He already has 26 marbles and wins 21 more. How many marbles does Tony have all together? So let's go ahead and go with our first step is C. What does C stand for? Circle the numbers. Now look in the question. Do you see any numbers? What are they? Hopefully you saw 26 and 21. Next is U, and what does U stand for? Underline the question. Now, just like in subtraction, when we're looking for the question in an addition word problem, we look for that question mark, and then we just go all the way back until we get to the word before the period. We have a period here, so our question starts here. How many marbles does Tony have all together? So now we know the question, and we know the numbers that we're going to be using. Now, we still don't know if it's addition or subtraction, so we have to look for the keyword. Do you see the keyword? Because B stands for box the keywords. Do you see a keyword? What is it? Altogether, that is correct. Altogether, and when you see altogether means that we add. So we're at a great spot now. We know what numbers, we know we're adding them, and we know what we're being asked to find out. How many marbles does Tony have altogether? Now, next we're going to go to E, which is eliminate extra information. Is there anything in this sentence, in this question, that we don't really need to know? Tony is collecting marbles. We don't really need to know that he's collecting marbles. We've kind of figured that out through the question. He had 26, he wins 21. He obviously is doing that. So we don't need to read that as part of how we're going to solve it because it doesn't help us solve the question. All right, now it's time to go all the way through. Let's go all the way through cubes. Let's look at what we're doing. Nykeria made cupcakes. She sold 16 chocolate and 23 strawberry cupcakes. How many cupcakes did Nykeria sell in all? So, our first step is C. And what does C stand for? Circle the numbers. Do you see any numbers in this question? 16 and 23. Next we go to the U. What does U stand for? Underline the question. That's correct. Can you find the question in this? Remember what we look for first. How many cupcakes did Nykeria sell in all? That's correct. Next, we're going to look for the key words. We're looking for B because B stands for box the key words. Now look in the question. Do you see any keywords? I see some. In all is correct. And in all is one of those keywords that tells us that we're going to add. So we know what the numbers are, 16 and 23. We know we're going to add them, and we know what we're being asked to find out. How many cupcakes did Nykeria sell in all? Next, we're going to go to E. E stands for eliminate extra information. What information in there doesn't help us solve the question? Nykeria made cupcakes. That doesn't help us solve the equation, solve the word problem, so that's not necessary. It's extra information. And last is S. S is solve and check your work. Now, because we've done cube, we know how we're going to solve it. We know what the numbers are. We know what we're being asked to find out. We know how we're going to figure it out because we have in all. So we're going to add those two numbers, 16 and 23. Those become our add-ins. Now, to solve this, we're going to use the break apart method. So we're going to break up 23 into a 20 and a 3. And we're going to add the 20 first. 16 plus 20. How many 10s are in 22? So we know we're just going to jump down our hundreds, our imaginary hundreds chart in our head. We're going to jump down twice. We're going to go from 16 to 26 to 36. That's correct. And then, so we've added the 20. Now it's time to add the 3. 36 plus 3. Just have to count 3 times. 37, 38. Did you get 39? I hope so. So we've added our 20, we've added our 3, which means that 16 plus 23 must equal 39. How'd you do? All right, let's try one more. Sebastian and Braylon went to the fair. Sebastian rode 18 rides and his friend Braylon rode 21 rides. How many rides did Sebastian and Braylon ride all together? So our first step is to do what? C. And what does C stand for? Circle the numbers. So look in the word problem. Do you see any numbers? 18 and 21. That's correct. Next, we're going to go to U. What does U stand for? Underline the question. Look in the question. Do you see the question in the word problem? Again, look for the question mark. How many rides did Sebastian and Braylon ride all together? Now look in there. Do you anybody see any EB? Box the keywords. All together is correct. So we already know the numbers. We know what we're being asked to find out, and we know that we're going to add because all together means add. Next, let's go to E, eliminate any extra information. Is there anything in there that doesn't help us solve it? Sebastian and Braylon went to the fair. That doesn't help us solve it, so that's extra information. So now that we've done CUBE, it's time to solve and check our work. That's what the S stands for. Now, what are our two add-ins going to be? 18 and 21. Again, we're going to use the break apart method. We're going to break up 21. What are we going to break 21 up into? 20 and 1 because it's 21. So let's add 20 first. 18 plus 20. Again, do 2 jumps. We have 18, then we go up 10 to 28. We go up another jump, 10 more, 38. We've added our 20. Now it's time to add our 1. 38 plus 1 is 39, which means that 18 plus 21 equals 39. That's it. That's it for our practice today. I don't want to make these too long, but I hope that practice is helping. We're going to do a couple of more lessons on this just to make sure we're getting really good at it. Use them if you need to. Until then, thanks for showing up. You're making math easier just by being here today. See you next time.